She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. She's pretty like a 4K sunset, blue-eyed baby from the Midwest. Body so bad when she undressed. If I was your ex, I'd be upset. Little did he know I was up next. Big brown boy with the big flex. I know that you know I'm the one. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. Lately gotta keep my memories on a leash. I know they tend to get a little bit away from me. I keep that photo in my wallet from 2018. I keep your body on my brain almost permanently. She said, can you take me to the moon? I got a reservation down for two. Nobody does it better. I don't think I'll ever find somebody better than you. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. So let's try to keep this tempo. We got love on every level. Even though I drive you crazy, I'm so glad that you're my baby. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. She's pretty like a 4K sunset, blue-eyed baby from the Midwest. Body so bad when she undressed. If I was your ex, I'd be upset. Little did he know I was up next. Big brown boy with the big flex. I know that you know I'm the one. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. Lately gotta keep my memories on a leash. I know they tend to get a little bit away from me. I keep that photo in my wallet from 2018. I keep your body on my brain almost permanently. She said, can you take me to the moon? I got a reservation down for two. Nobody does it better. I don't think I'll ever find somebody better than you. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. So let's try to keep this tempo. We got love on every level. Even though I drive you crazy, I'm so glad that you're my baby. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. She's pretty like a 4K sunset, blue-eyed baby from the Midwest. Body so bad when she undressed. If I was your ex, I'd be upset. Little did he know I was up next. Big brown boy with the big flex. I know that you know I'm the one. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby.
Welcome to Together Real Bad.
No, that's not how we started. Hi, guys. Welcome back. I am Beautiful.
And I'm Ace.
And we are Together Real Bad. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, we need to say we are Together Real Bad because we are Together Real Bad.
That's true.
This is Together Real Bad. So,
That's true.
yeah.
I like the way you're thinking about that.
Thank you. I was, up all night thinking when I couldn't sleep and stuff. So,
okay, fair enough. You have a lot of those nights where you can't sleep?
Just lately. Not that I can't sleep.
You're not sleeping well.
Yeah, exactly.
Or straight through the night. Yes.
I wanna go to sleep and not remember anything that, like, how I fell asleep, what I was watching, a dream.
No,
that's how I want to wake up. Like, oh man, that was such a good rest. I don't remember nothing.
Those days for me are over. I occasionally have a night like that. Typically it's because we've partaken. But other than that, I'm waking up at 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4:30. I think today I woke up at like 4:30 and I was like, I went back to sleep, but I woke up and I want to sleep all the way through the night.
I never noticed.
Yeah, because you be
out. I'll be knocked out. But the past couple of days, I've been having like really, really bad dreams.
Well, I mean, that's probably just everything we have going on right now. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just okay.
I mean, there's still lots to do and lots to, I guess, get adjusted to. Still some planning with my life. And it's now like down to the wire. Like before I was just thinking about it and trying to plan for it, but now it's like coming to the time where, okay, things need to be set.
Yeah.
So that I'm set.
Yeah. Because winter is coming.
Exactly. Winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
So, yeah, my anxiety is a little bit higher.
A little high. Well, you'll figure it out. Or, I'm like, whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen. So, as best you can, try not to stress about it. Yeah.
You like my robe?
Yes. Straight from the bed.
Not straight from the bed.
Into the robe, into the chair.
I wish I could say I woke up like this.
Well, you always wake up beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh. I was going to say something funny there, but you ruined my joke.
My bad.
But thank you.
You're welcome. I do what I can.
Anyway, we're going to jump right into it because I know a lot of people have been paying attention to this. It's actually kind of been big in the pop culture news lately. Love is Blind, season 5. Undoubtedly the worst season ever. I'm so disappointed.
Okay, is it the worst season or just kind of like not the greatest group of people?
Which in turn would be the worst season because you got the not so the greatest group of people on one season that are just the couples are odd, the people are odd, the different circumstances.
Yeah.
The different circumstances have been odd, and I don't know. It's just, I see when they first started out, I thought it was like a genuine show. Like I even wanted to be on it. Like I started to apply and all that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yes. I wanted to be on Love is Blind so bad. Like so bad.
That's
almost as bad. Almost as bad as I wanted to be on The Real World.
I used to want to be in The Real World too,
man.
So I get that. But really, honestly, road rules. But I digress. Go ahead.
Either one would have been fine for me. I just wanted to be on the show and for the right reasons, but also, serving a purpose. Like I want to be on reality TV anyway.
Right.
And so since that first season, I feel like people have been catching on like, oh, after these people, get into these relationships, be it that they make it or don't make it for various reasons, they become kind of celebrities in a sense.
That's
and
true.
So a lot of the contestants, that's been their goals. I feel like their motive for coming onto the show, and it hasn't really been about finding love blindly.
Yeah.
So I think that it's gone downhill because of that, because the motives have been changing. And so in this season, it's very evident that, things are different than the past season. Like you can tell, like there's been a shift.
Yeah.
In the what would you call it?
In the cultural is it paradigm? paradigm. I don't know. Let me not try and use big words, but there's been a shift in their Love is Blind culture.
Yeah.
As far as the purpose of the experiment is what they've been calling it.
So much so, like, I was looking at the TV the other day, like catching up, and this was at the time they were doing the wedding dress shopping and stuff like that. And that's when I realized, like, damn, it's really only 2 couples left. It's really only 2 couples left.
But didn't you read there was originally
Yes,
4?
yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Like, so actually, I think there might have been 6 or 7. So, we have Milton and Lydia. We have Stacy and Izzy. So those are the 2 couples that remain. Then you have Taylor and JP, the guy, Mr. America, the one that always wore the red, white, and blue, different variations of red, white, and blue.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He was very odd, and like visibly like not attracted to Taylor at all. And she was a beautiful girl. I love her nose. She was
nice.
I like noses. She has a really cute nose.
What do you think about my nose?
I'm with you.
Oh, period.
No, I love your nose. I love everything about your face.
Thank you.
But yeah, like he hated that girl.
Yeah, it was just weird. Like I mean, his body language was saying, I am not attracted to you, but he wouldn't even try and talk to her. Like, if you're not attracted to her, then say that. Like, I know it's supposed to be this experiment about like being attracted to the mind and the soul. And then, excuse me, and then the forward facing physical. But I mean, some people can't get past that. And I feel like it's only fair for you as a contestant on this show, and knowing the purpose of this show, is to tell the person that you're supposed to try and be with, like, hey, this is not gonna work. I know I tried, Love is Blind, yada yada, but I can't do it. And then like leave. You're wasting this girl's time.
Yeah, but instead he did tell her that he didn't like her with makeup. That's the only thing he kept saying. It's like, if you would just wear less makeup or no makeup, like, I like you better.
Which is crazy.
Right, and she like, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Right.
Like, who are you to tell me not to wear any makeup? Yeah, I'm glad you love my freckles. Great. Because she has some cute freckles. I'm glad you love my freckles. But I like to wear makeup to enhance my beauty. Right. Not to cover up my beauty. That's not the purpose. But wearing makeup makes me feel comfortable. And for you to tell me not to wear makeup, don't wear another red and white stripes with stars.
Red, white, and blue stars, shorts or pants. Right. It's the same difference.
Yeah.
It's the same difference. Hey, don't wear makeup no more. I forbid it.
I barely want to do it now anyway, but even if that was the case, I'm like, girl, all right, whatever. I'm still going to do what I want. But yeah, so it was Taylor JP. Then it was Aaliyah and what's that guy's name? Uche. Aaliyah and Uche. And that whole crazy love triangle thing with Lydia. Like,
yeah,
don't get me started on her,
bruh. That whole love triangle was like, what?
Right.
And people are talking, I think her name is Lydia. People are talking about Lydia and she got on there on purpose. I don't know. I'm having a little, like, when I watch Uche, he's so adamant about letting every single person know. I don't know. It's something else there.
Well,
like, watch it come out in like 6 months, like they were in on it together.
Right,
like,
exactly. I think he's trying to like almost do like damage control, but before the damage happens.
He's like causing more of the damage, in my opinion.
But I'm saying, like, from a lawyer's perspective, because he's a lawyer.
Yeah, he is.
He's probably trying to paint the picture that maybe like this is what really happened. She followed me on the show, but in reality, it could be that they actually planned on being on there together. But with that same token, how is it that both of them made it through all the prereqs and whatever you have to do to sign onto the show, to then both make it onto the show and then cause all this drama? Like, I feel like it was probably a setup, even with the
producers.
Something happened, or they caught on and like, okay, let's spin it to make this show a little bit more interesting,
absolutely.
Because we dropped like 5 other.
I was gonna say, because there was no other sustenance or controversial stuff that was going on the show,
and that's why I was so distracted at the fact that there were 2 couples up until they went dress shopping. And the other girl who was supposed to be on there, her name was Renee, and she was supposed to be with this guy named Thomas. I'm not sure how their relationship was because we didn't even see them date in the pods because they cut out their entire relationship completely.
Yeah.
I think that she was one of the ones that also got proposed to and said yes, but somewhere something went wrong and they cut them out. I think they even went to Mexico. No, I don't think that they went to Mexico. I don't know. I don't know what happened with them. But then there was another group, another couple that they're saying it's got some drama going on. Tran and some guy.
I don't have a clue. That was your research.
Yeah. I did this. I forget his name, but there's something going on between them where there was a sexual assault. There's a pending sexual assault case going on, and allegedly, while they were in Mexico, because they made it all the way to Mexico, she expressed her unwantingness to do anything physical with this person. And the person allegedly proceeded to do what he wanted, and that caused some concern for her. So I guess she brought it up to the producers, like, "Hey, I'm uncomfortable in this situation, yada yada yada," and they were like, "Well, maybe you should take the time to talk to him," kind of like brushing her feelings and the situation under the rug, like it's not that big a deal. And the show came back and said, in response to that, like, we don't condone sexual assault, apparently, and then that they tried to make sure that she was okay. We keep our cameras filming not all day, basically, is what they were saying. Like, we don't film all day every day. So what happens after we film, we can't control. We don't know about. We can't control. So they are they have been going back and forth with that. So that's like is that the fifth
what season?
No, it is the fifth season.
I
think that's the fifth couple, and then there was another couple, but I thought it was super super interesting how like all this drama is happening in season 5. And so at this point I'm like, okay, let's have a watch party, because like our neighbors really like the show, which I think is super cool because I never had like that type of relationship with my neighbors. So our neighbors like the show. I want to watch the wedding episode with them, which would be super good. Right? We're gonna be up here throwing cussing people out at the TV, like
that's gonna be real interesting.
All type of shit. So I'm interested to see in the next episode, and I don't even know when it's supposed to come out.
I don't either, honestly, but I would assume sometime this week because we just watched the last episode and they were promoting.
Yeah, well, they were supposed. That was another thing. They were saying that they were supposed to be, like 12, maybe 13 episodes, and they only have 10 episodes total.
Well, the writer's strike, I think.
I don't think. No,
wait, they don't do it concurrently though, so maybe not. I don't know. No.
Each season is supposed to be 13 to 12 episodes, and they only have 10 episodes this season because we have 2 couples left. They cut everything out, so that's why they've been showing more of the drama, because they have to fill up the episodes with some type of content.
That's true.
So I just think it's really interesting, and I'm tuned in, and I love the drama, but I hate to see one of my favorite dating reality shows, slowly go down the drain.
Unfortunate. More on that in the next podcast, because I'm sure we're going to have some sort of, I don't know, things are going to come to fruition. So.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't even want to get I don't even want to get deeper into the actual couples that are still there, because nobody is going to get married. Nobody is going to end up being married. And we're just going to be like, looking at the TV like, that one meme where Viola Davis is sitting in that chair with that badass wig?
Yes.
And she just like
got up and walked away, like, and rolled her eyes.
Yes. Rolled her eyes and got up and walked away. That's how we all going to be looking at the TV. I'm sure of it.
So we took a trip to Michigan this weekend.
Oh, not this weekend. Last weekend.
Was that last weekend? Yes,
yeah,
you're right. Last weekend. Took a trip to Detroit, my hometown.
Whoop whoop.
Stayed with my best friend. My mom came. My aunt came. You came.
Yes.
Had a little induction ceremony into my high school's Hall of Fame.
Cause she that good.
Cause I'm alright.
Give yourself your kudos since they didn't.
Thank They did, but yeah, got inducted into my high school's Hall of Fame. Saw some faces I haven't seen literally in 20 years, which was like 25 years, which was pretty cool. Like my old athletic director was there. Her son is the new athletic director, or new to me athletic director. Um, some of my one of my old teammates, a couple of just administrators and teachers. It was really cool being back and seeing all the changes and stuff they had made. The only caveat or downside was there was a panel.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only African American person on the panel. There was probably like two coaches,
It was supposed
Caucasian
to be 3
men.
coaches, but one was
One passed sometime a little bit ago. So his daughter was there because she played softball under him. Everybody got a question like, yeah, how was your experience with your teammates? How did this athletic experience shape your life? And the moderator asked me, let me back up a little bit. This school, when I was attending, probably had about 40 African Americans in our class, and the rest were of different cultural backgrounds, but mainly Caucasian. And there was probably maybe, would you say two? You saw the picture, maybe 200 people that graduated in my class, maybe. So whatever that percentage is, but the moderator MC asked me something about how was diversity important to you when you attended Mercy High School. And I answered the question, but I immediately saw some faces in the crowd, and they were like, what in the heck just happened? And so afterwards, people were coming up to me. I am so sorry that he asked you that question. We gave him questions, and we just apologize. Like the president called me, the president of the school board called me the next day and apologized profusely for it.
That's because she needed to. She wasn't remorseful that day. Somebody had to tell her, like, hey, your guy that you hired to be the MC for this program, for our panel, fucked it up. This is where he was wrong. You need to go make it right.
Yeah. I and my mom was talking to my aunt, and she was telling my aunt, like, Christy don't really care about stuff like that. Ace don't really care about stuff like that. And so she was like, well, still. And I don't, but I understand how it was just terrible timing. Like people are coming to hear about, they really wanted to hear, and people told me this, they really wanted to hear about my football experience. Like how I got into it, why'd I do it, all these different things. And so for him to ask such a narrow-minded and insensitive question it blew a lot of people away. So,
everybody was literally like, stone him.
The lady next to
walk
me,
the plank,
right? You took video, and the lady next to me, like the way her face turned, oh my god!
She was at the start of the question. She kind of knew it was gonna be bad because she was biting her lip, and then as soon as he finished the question, she was like,
"Ooh, yeah,
white lady."
yeah. So, but beyond that, I had a really good time. It was super cool seeing the school and seeing the actual the plaque that was on the wall. Like, man, my picture's gonna be on the wall for an eternity.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
It was cool for me because I had never been to Detroit. And I hadn't seen you in your almost not, I want to say natural habitat, but in a space where you're super familiar with, comfortable. Yeah. I also got to meet your mom and your aunt for the first time. So that was also very nerve-wracking. It was just a weekend of emotional roller coasters for me. So, but it was really great to see you up there and be there to celebrate you and all the good things. It made me think man, what would have been if I went to an all-girl Catholic high school? Because this should look fun.
It was fun. I would never trade that experience for the world. I had no clue when I was in elementary school about high schools. I had no clue about Mercy. I think somebody told my mom about Mercy. And so in Detroit, you have to there's 3 top high schools. It's I think it's Christ the King, Renaissance, and Cass Tech. And so you have to take a test to get placed into one of those 3 schools. And I think I got into Cass. Like Renaissance is the highest, and then Cass, and then the next is Christ the King. And she was like, "Well, do you want to go and take a look at Mercy?" And I was like, "Okay." All girls Catholic school. I wasn't boy crazy anyway for obvious reasons. So I didn't care. So we went there and I was like, man, this school is pretty cool. I mean, you're around girls all the time, but like those girls become your family. And though I don't talk to a lot of people from high school, if I sat down with one of them that I was really cool with, I'm quite sure we would just pick it back up where we left off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an experience that I would never ever give up, just like I would never give up my college experience. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, I loved seeing you
In my little
in
element.
in your element. A little walk in the halls with you that you once walked.
I know, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I walked those halls like 25 years ago. It's wild.
Almost as old as I am. No, I'm just joking.
Well,
I'm joking.
I appreciate you coming. It was nerve-wracking, I'm sure, for you meeting my family. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, Laren had to tell me to calm down a few times because I didn't like the normal things that I do for you. Like just like for instance, when I went to go, after you finish taking your picture, I went to go grab your, your trophy or plaque or whatever you want to call it to put it back in the box. I boxed it back up for you. I went over to take pictures of you with it and all that kind of stuff. And Laren was like, "Oh my God, like, what are you doing? Like you're making it way too obvious."
Relax. Like my mom knows, but at the end of the day, I don't really care. I mean, I want to be respectful, but like it's my life at the end of the day, and I gotta live it how I choose to live it.
True.
So it is what it is. So
let's get into the meat of it.
The meat and potatoes. My partner has ADD. Now what? Question mark.
Is that the question? Is that the title of
That's
this?
the title.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
My partner. Okay, my partner has ADD. Now what?
Yes. So, you started to tell me a little bit, like when we were talking about this episode. But how did you discover, and when did you discover that you had ADD?
So I started off by telling you, like, we were talking about how we were as students and stuff. So, like, in elementary school, never had a problem with schoolwork and getting great grades, even through high school. I never studied. I had photographic memory. If there was a particular subject that I really liked, I tended to excel in it not because I was paying attention more, but because I was actually into it.
Mm-hmm.
So math was my thing. Like I loved numbers and I was in the advanced math classes and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't until college, my freshman year, full of prereqs like normal, and I did pretty good. I got A's and B's, but they were like easy classes. My sophomore year is when I was like, okay, I'm starting to step into what might be my major. So the classes got a little bit harder. I went from A's and B's to like an A, a couple B's, and maybe a C or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then my junior year is when my first semester, my grades kind of went down. And I knew it was because like I never studied in high school, never had to study. So coming into college where you get a bunch of information thrown at you at one time, like you're learning 3 chapters in one day, where it was like maybe a chapter and a half and you had to go home and like read on it back in high school. Like no, it was like 3 to 5 chapters in one day. Mm-hmm. And having to study and learn all that information for multiple classes at a time was difficult for me. So I was like, okay, let me like really, really try to take detailed notes. So I was sitting in a lecture class and I began to like come up with like a scenario, like a story, like a how I actually realized like, okay, I need to go and see what's up. Mm-hmm. I would be in a lecture hall and the professor would be talking and I'm like, okay, let me get these notes together. I had different color pens for like different type of information. If it was vital information, I would underline it in a different color. If it was a keyword that I needed to know, I would write it in a different color. Like I was really trying to have like these detailed notes. So when it came time to study, it was easier to study because I knew exactly what the things were that I needed to focus on.
Right.
So I'll be in class and the teacher was like, all right, class, today we'll be talking about osmosis, for example. And I'm like, okay, cool. I remember what osmosis is a little bit. I learned it in high school. So, okay, we got this.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll be talking about osmosis. And I'm like, okay, water. Yeah. I like water. Actually, I hate water, but, I mean, I drink it from time to time. I like water better cold than hot. And, like, in practice, they only make us drink water. We can't drink anything else. So I usually do
And this is your mind.
This is in my mind. Yes. This is my mind going on and on in a tangent off of the word osmosis.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the professor has gone on with this entire lecture and he's moved on to mitochondria and I'm still on osmosis and why, or I'm not even on osmosis anymore. I'm on the fact that I don't like to drink water and how I put emergency in my water in order to drink it at practice.
Wow.
And how, damn, I got practice later. I need to hurry up and get home and take a nap. What am I going to eat? Like my mind has gone from osmosis to what I'm going to eat. And now the entire lecture is over and I don't have anything on my notes except for osmosis. So like I missed an entire class worth of notes because my mind has done its own thing. And so I went to my mom like, hey, I'm having a hard time focusing in class. I think I probably need to go, see a doctor or something. And I didn't know what it was called at the time. I only knew of ADHD and I knew I wasn't hyper and I didn't know to go and do research on the different variants of, ADD, ADHD and how they're similar, how they're different. So I went to the doctor and she was like, well, you're 21 because that was my junior year. I was 21. She was like, okay, we're going to give you an adolescent test and we're also going to give you an adult test since you're in the middle of the two.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. So I took these 2 different tests and she came back with the results and she was like, wow, like, I don't even know how you made it through high school with how severe your ADD is.
Wow.
You scored out of the norm for both tests, adolescents and the adult test. Like you must be some type of genius. And at the time I was like, oh shit, she think I'm smart. But I didn't think like, damn, like you got it really bad.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long for me to realize like, man, the reason why probably I had this issue focusing or how I've been able to coast this entire time is based on my focus and how I have to be with gymnastics. If I didn't have that structure as a sport and the immense like focus that it took to do certain skills in the moment and all that kind of stuff, I probably wouldn't have been able to apply that to my real life as much as I have been up until my junior year because so much more information was given at a time.
Right.
So I went to doctor. She prescribed me Adderall. No, she prescribed me the generic version of Adderall.
Okay.
And at first it was like, 5 milligrams at a time. And that didn't do anything for me. My metabolism was super high. I definitely needed more focus than 5 milligrams at a time. So eventually, like we kept upping the dosage until we found one that worked for me. And at the time, it got up to like 30 milligrams. So I was taking 30.
Normal or
I was
you don't know?
No, it wasn't normal because she told me that like that's as much as like one of her firefighter patients was taking, a man.
Well, a man, okay.
And I was like, damn,
Yeah. But if you flipping all over the place, you're gonna metabolize things much faster. I mean, any athlete was down in a bunch of junk and was fine, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I understood later on, but I was like, man, you must really have it bad if you have to take as much as like a firefighter. And I actually hated taking my medication. I hated the side effects it gave me. I had insomnia really bad. I would have mood swings that I would have to check constantly because other people really didn't know that I was taking these pills, except for my coaches because you have to disclose that because, there's, banned substances for NCAA within that drug. So, like I had to check myself constantly. I was losing meals because my appetite would drop drastically when I would take them. there was a certain window where I could take them. If I was outside of that window, I wouldn't take it because my my dosage was so high that if I took it later on in the day, I wouldn't sleep through the night at all. I wouldn't go to sleep at all. So I had to take it in between 8 and 10 in the morning. Wow. If I didn't take it, that was it.
And so you just had to go through the day just dealing with.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole lot.
Yeah.
So in this relationship, how do you feel like, in our relationship, how do you feel like your ADD affects it?
Especially considering that the fact that I do not take medication anymore. As soon as I graduated with my bachelor's, I stopped taking my medication because I felt like I didn't really need it. I didn't like it anyway. I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I opted not to take it and try to cope the best way that I could without it. How do I feel like it's affected our relationship? Sometimes there are positives and negatives to the way that has affected our relationship. Sometimes, like for a person with ADD, we can do multiple things at one time. And I've been able to, I guess, multitask when it comes to certain things like you need me to. But at the same time, like we can be there. I can't focus on more than one thing at a time if I'm already focusing on one. Yeah. So like for instance, it looks like I'm ignoring you when I'm in my phone sometimes and I'll hear you, but it doesn't catch up with me until after the fact.
And I'll be over here like, she's ignoring me again.
Yeah, but I don't be ignoring you.
I know.
So, and then also it'll be sometimes that I don't hear you at all because I'll be doing something and my mind is only on that thing.
Yeah.
There's been times where like, you know, my anxiety will get to me, and so like I'll get kind of frustrated easily, and so I feel like that would affect.
Yeah, because I'm always like, don't give up so easy. Like, keep going with it. Like, let's keep trying. And then you'd be like, no, I'm done. And I'll be like, dang. But then I have to remember, like, okay, this is what, you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing that, well, like we've realized in these past couple weeks is I'm a procrastinator. I'm a huge procrastinator. And I've been a procrastinator since I was a kid. And procrastination always worked for me because I worked well under pressure. That don't work well for you. Like when we say we're gonna do something, you want it done. All right, let's get it done now. And I'm like, but we got time. No, we can wait.
We don't have time. Okay, so I am a procrastinator to a degree, but as I've gotten older, have been a procrastinator, things don't always work the way they should. And so now I'm like, no, the earlier we can get this done, the better, or the earlier I can start on this, the better, because life happens and you can't control life, right? And so in order to have a better chance of just dealing with what comes at you when you don't know what's coming at you, if you get things done earlier or sooner than later, then you have time to you have time to deal with those things that come at you. But could you imagine if we would have waited to start moving?
I mean, that's always the other side of having procrastination. When you don't feed into the procrastination, you realize, that was like, we actually, right, we got it done. Like, I feel so much better. That's always the other side of it. So yes, of course, I do feel the benefits and see the benefits of not procrastinating.
Right. But why do you think you having ADD means procrastination, or that's just?
I feel like it just comes along with it.
Okay. But why do you think? Like, why do you think in your head, I got time, I'll do it later, and then continue to like think that? What do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, I don't feel like dealing with it right now, or what do you think it is?
For me, it could be like too much is going on at one time. Like this is another thing I just can't focus on right now. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put it off.
Right.
And if I continue to dwell on it, I'm gonna get irritated. And then I'm just gonna shut down. So it's easier to just put stuff off and then come back to it
than to to deal with it at the moment that maybe is a good time to deal with it.
Right.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. I get a little bit frustrated like with certain characteristics of ADD because like you just said, like yesterday, we need to go to the laundromat. And I was like, all right, let's go. Because why not? Like, let's get up and get it done. And you're like, no, I just want to chill a little bit. I'm like, okay. So I just went and started doing something else. But yeah, I just got to reel it in and realize like we work differently and we have to find a happy medium.
Yeah. And I got up and we went. It was just like, I just wanted to like wrap my head around what the day was going to be like. Because at that moment, we had just found out that I wasn't going into work. So I'm like, okay, let me like kind of almost like a short decompression session.
I understand that.
With myself.
From thinking that you had to go to work to
right.
like, all right, yeah, I don't have
now
to go.
I can breathe.
And then probably thinking, what if they do what they did yesterday?
Bruh.
And call me in.
After they cut me off. Bruh. Oh my God. That was irritating. And then I got there and made $2
and left 3 hours later. Anyhow, so having ADD, I assume like gives you or adds to your anxiety. So what are the things that trigger that for you? Like what triggers your anxiety? I don't know if ADD has a trigger or if that's just something that is constantly with you, but what triggers ADD or what triggers your anxiety or both?
Honestly, I didn't realize I had anxiety until I had anxiety. Like, I didn't know that that's what it was. So for instance, what triggers my anxiety? If I have too much going on and they're all pressing matters, and something like I have to make a decision on everything right then and there, it gives me anxiety because one, I don't want to make a decision that fast. Two, there's so many variables that can go into each situation that like why do I have to do this right now? Like why I have to think about this, I have to think about this, I have to think about this. So like for example, an example of that in my life is like what am I doing for work, right?
Right.
I have to find another job because the season is ending. It's like, okay, thank God I moved in here. Like I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple different places.
Right.
But like I said earlier in the show, like the time is now that something needs to be set in place.
Right.
So that causes me anxiety because I have things and obligations that I have to, make sure that I tend to, and also keeping up with the things that we said that we were going to do together and the building and stuff like that. I want to make sure that I'm able to contribute the way that I'm supposed to contribute. So it's causing me anxiety because I feel like I'm not going to get it done. And I think the feeling of not being able to get something done, something not being perfect, all triggers my anxiety.
Gotcha. So what are things that I can do? Like, well, first, what does it look like when your anxiety is triggered? And then what are things that I can do to try and ease that instead of add to it? Because I'm sure I add to it in certain situations because I'm like, let's go, let's get it done. So what would help you in that way?
What was the first part of that question?
How?
That's another thing. Like with my ADD, like I'll be listening and trying to listen very intently and being caught up on the words. I'll still forget what we're talking about. I'll forget what I'm saying while I'm talking to, like what I'm supposed to be saying while I talk to you.
Yeah. Well, yes, I've seen that. We were talking about triggers, so I asked, what, I know I trigger like your anxiety or ADD if there is a trigger for it. So, what can I do to help you through that and not trigger that? Because I know that sometimes I can trigger that because I'm like, okay, let's go, let's get it done, let's go.
I like that you help me take things in stages. You help me to like get my thoughts out if it's like if I have to answer something like through email or through text. you slow it down for me when you realize like, okay, this might be a lot.
Yeah.
So you think about those things. You still push me, which I still love. I love that you push me.
She don't love it in the moment though, y'all.
I don't love it in the moment. I do not love it in the moment. But it's like that. It's the same thing as like the procrastination. Like when once it's done, it's like, you know.
Yeah,
But
like,
so like in the moment when you push me, I'm like, Mickey Ficky, get out my face. Like leave me alone for a second. Like, oh, can we wait a second? 1 second.
Nope.
Yes. So sometimes you give me that time. Sometimes you give me that time, and it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Because I need, it's like my body and my brain needs time to process it all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, duly noted.
Mm-hmm.
Are you having anxiety right now?
No, but
You're
I feel
good.
like I'm in
Okay.
an interview. And
Well,
even though I'm not like shaking in my voice, like my brain is rattling because like, what?
I mean,
How are you going to keep up with these questions in your head and actually answer them and not ramble and actually get the question in?
It's okay to ramble. It's a podcast. People like to hear you talk. I like to hear you talk because I like your voice.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
I still want to answer your question because I want to answer your questions because hopefully this like
helps
episode
other,
helps other
absolutely
people,
helps other like couples
and even us, because you're still learning things about me. You didn't know about those stories and how I was diagnosed and why and all that kind of stuff.
You just told me you had ADD and I was like, And when you told me like after like being like irritated by a few things, I just like, like the procrastination and stuff like that, nothing major, but just stuff that we work differently. I like started doing research, like reading like what are the causes, what can you do to help, what are some of the symptoms, how can you ease those symptoms. So I'm always in my head like, okay, like, lead with love. Like that's my mantra for a lot of things is lead with love, lead with love. And so when I do start to get like irritated or like what the hell, like why is she doing this like this, I have to think back like, okay, there's a base cause for why this might be going on. And so that just self-talk for me and having taking the initiative to do my own research definitely helps me relate to you better and what you are actually going through, because it's hard when there's nothing that you can see wrong with anyone. It's really hard to say, okay, there's something wrong with them, and not that there's anything wrong with you, but what they classify as something being wrong or a mental health issue. It's really hard to, when you can't touch it, to make sense of it.
Yeah, I used to not even like to tell people. Like at one point I was like comfortable with telling people like, yeah, I have ADD. Yeah, this is because I have ADD.
Yeah.
I stopped telling people because I would tell some people like I would have ADD and they're like, oh, well, everybody got a little bit of ADD.
They make light of it. Like, no, mine is diagnosed.
Like I actually take medication for it.
Right.
I understand like some people, I would get like even run down like some of the symptoms. Like I can't focus sometimes, and I would just run down and like, oh yeah, I got some of that too. I'm like, damn, okay, well, I mean, not that it made me feel bad in that moment. It was just like, okay, well maybe this is like something that's not as serious as I've made it for myself. And if everybody got ADD, then it is what it is. And, so I stopped telling people that I suffer from it, and I just was like suffering in silence and not being able to like be upfront about the fact that like I'm having issues over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Don't suffer in silence. You don't have to suffer in silence around me anymore. Well, not that you did, but you don't have to suffer in silence. I didn't. I know. You immediately told me, it was like, deal with it. Nah, you didn't say that, but you did tell me. What questions do you have for me, if any, about like how I deal with it, how we deal with it, how you deal with me dealing with it?
I want to know your very first reaction to like to a moment where you notice like, oh shit, that's her ADD. Like what, right, not when you realized it was my ADD, be like when you like frustrated with me, like what were you thinking, and then you were like, oh, never mind, it's this.
I think the biggest one that I can think of so far was like when we were moving. Like I would ask, all right, when this was probably like we moved in what, like October, and this was probably like
I'm done.
this was probably like August maybe, or maybe even July. I was like, okay, well, all right, when you want to move, and you're like, I don't know, and immediately just glazed over it. And so I was like, I don't know what was going on at the moment, but I think I was thinking, okay, well, maybe this is a little bit too much, like considering what's going on at the moment. So that's when I was like, okay, and I probably said, well, think about it and let me know. And then I came back to it, and I was like, okay, all right, when you want to start moving, and then you're like, okay, I think October 1st. Like the second time the question was answered a lot more comfortably and with some, yeah, we're gonna do this behind it. So I'm thinking you just thinking about moving and changing this and changing that was overwhelming at the moment. And you had other things going on and you couldn't process like trying to move. And my first, like, when we've had this conversation before, my first thought whenever you say I don't know, I'd be like, you didn't even take a second to think about it. Like that's what my initial thoughts always are.
It's so funny you say that because when I was younger, my mom used to hate the fact that I would say I don't know.
I hate it for everybody. Like, and if when people say I don't know, and then just leave it, I'm like, there's so many resources out here. There is no reason you shouldn't know. That's just me and how I think. Because if you ask me a question, I'll be like, I might be like, I don't know, and then I go immediately pick up my phone and Google it. But everybody's not like that. So I think, that's my initial reaction was definitely frustration and the fact that, it was just like, I don't know, because it comes off as you don't care, even though I know you do care.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in my mind, the way I make sense of it is it's your way of not having to deal with a certain subject in the moment because you may be overwhelmed with other things that are going on that you may not even have told me about yet in your head. So that's frustration is my first reaction. And then empathy and then lead with love are like always secondary after my frustration is gone.
Do you feel like the things that you've been doing to understand my diagnosis has helped like our relationship?
Yeah, because I feel like if I didn't know, I would be more frustrated that we didn't have the same type of ways to work. But that's my own deal because like I always feel like people should be how I am and work how I am. And no, that's wrong. People are not like you. Everybody's different. Everybody's different for a reason. And you can't force people to be something or someone outside of who they are. So yeah, that's my answer. I think I answered the question.
I think you did too.
Okay.
Another question.
Mm-hmm.
If I hadn't told you from the beginning that I had ADD and I had all these issues that came up, do you think that those all would have been red flags for you and you would have been out?
No, I don't think I would have been out. They are red flags, but when you enter into a relationship, you have to take the good and the bad, right? Like it's not all good. There's just bad that comes with it. And so it probably would have been a situation of me being like, why don't you get up and do this? Or why don't you get up and do that? Or can you help me with this? Or can you help me with that? Or let's talk about this or that. And, I probably would have just kept pushing because I would not have known, like, because I'm trying to get an answer. I need an answer so that I can continue on with this or we can continue on with that. So that would have been the only difference. I probably would have I think, pushed harder than I do sometimes. And I would have had a hard time understanding, why things are the way they are or why there is procrastination. I also wouldn't have been able to give things to you or know to give things to you in like little doses or try and break things down so that they don't seem overwhelming. So just knowing that, and then, reading about that, was definitely helpful for me. So at the end of the day, it just helps us, navigate the situation or our situations better when there are, when you have anxiety or when we both have some sort of anxiety about something.
What was the most surprising thing that you learned about ADD?
Um, I mean, I think I always thought of it as just like the inability to pay attention for a long period of time. But it's more than that, right? It's like you said, is anxiety. It's um, going from one thought to the next thought to the next thought to the next thought. And I was reading an article, and this guy that had ADD said it's like going into a room and there's like, I think he said like 10 or 15 TVs, and all of those TVs are playing at once different shows, and you trying to keep up with each show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot. Because I mean, even if we're like laying in bed and the TV's on, and then like the phone, like one of our phones is loud or your phone is loud, I'll be like, hey, can you turn that down? Because I can't hear like the main TV. But like that's how it is for you. A lot of the times, like you can't hear the main thing that's going on, the main thing that was happening. And so I think the amount of noise that happens in your brain and someone's brain with ADD was surprising to know that that's what it's like. It's not just like, oh, I started writing something and then I got up and got a drink of water and then I went back to the room and went to sleep because I forgot about what I was writing. It's just that there's so much noise going on in your head that it's hard to choose the to hear the main thing that you need to focus on or even to choose what to do first.
Mm. Okay, and final question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like I actively try to like notice when I'm having quote unquote an episode and try to like not I don't want to say catch it, but try to navigate it differently, like, oh shit, like I'm doing this, okay, let me like get back to the purpose of like when it comes to like procrastination or having anxiety and like trying to like push things to the side. And do you feel like I try to work on certain things?
um I feel like in certain instances, yes. Like when okay, like when it was time to start planning to move, I felt like you were working, to do things a little bit at a time because you just had even told me like I was frustrated and I just didn't want to deal with it, like it was too much. And so when I said, well, if we start now and you do a little bit at a time, it'll be easier. And so you took that and you did a little bit at a time, like you called the moving company and got them hired for 1 week. And then you called, it was two people we had to call, the moving company and what was the other one?
Um, the junk people.
Oh yes, the moving company, and then you call the junk people, and then scheduled them for a day, and then you scheduled the cleaner to come out. And so, in that instance, I was like, okay, yeah, I see she's she's doing it. She's making some progress with this moving, and even though she was feeling overwhelmed, she jumped in and got it done. But other times, I don't ever want to say that I don't feel like you're trying, but I think that everything that's going on inwardly makes it look like you're not trying outwardly.
Mm.
If that makes sense. Cuz I feel like, you want to try for us and you want to make sure things get done and you want to um do what you need to do, to just be, to like to live and be a contributing member of society and not let your anxiety like keep you in bed, you know? So, but it's just, I don't know what it's like to have ADD, and I'm not in your head. I only know what I've read and what you've told me. So I always think that you're thinking about it. It just may not look like it to me.
Which is true.
Yeah.
I can see how it may not look like it on the outside, but I'm always thinking about it on the inside. That's another thing that's on my mind. So do you feel like I should like possibly go back to a psychiatrist and maybe start taking my medication again?
So I was in a relationship where my partner had anxiety, and she actually went to I guess it's a psychiatrist, and they prescribed her medicine. All it did for her was put her to sleep. Like it didn't. I didn't see where it was helpful for her in managing it. It was like, all right, you got anxiety, and now okay, let's just go to sleep. So I don't know that I would want that, because I feel like it would alter you as a person to some degree, and I like you as a person.
I can tell you some of the difference in what it actually feels like.
What is that?
So one, it's like a lot of caffeine, like you feel energized, like you got like you're
fidgety,
jittery.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I told you like I can have mood swings.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that
you already had those. So I don't want to intensify those.
So it doesn't put me to sleep, because in fact I can't sleep when I'm on them. So I wouldn't be in bed. But I mean, there are benefits to them, but there are some very negative side effects for me that
you don't want to deal with.
I don't want to deal with.
I probably don't want to deal with them either.
But that was also when I was on a high dosage. So I feel like what if I went back and I started back at a lower dosage? Like what if I went to 10 milligrams instead of 30?
I mean, what are the pros for you? What would change, or what could it help you change?
I feel like I would be a little bit more motivated to get things done. While I am a multitasker, I'll be able to multitask and also get all those jobs done, instead of like leaving a lot of stones like unturned with a lot of projects.
Yeah. So, if you did, I mean, how would you feel about that? I don't know. I feel like there's got to be some like other alternatives to. And there is actually. I mean, I read about them, and some of those other alternatives are like having checklists, having calendar, having assigned things that need to be done for certain days. It's basically like just being organized on the outside, so the inside can feel more organized, from what I read.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as a possibility. And actually, you've mentioned that to me before, but not in the sense like, hey, I did some research and maybe you should make a calendar.
Yeah. Like, put it on your calendar.
Make a list and then just check things off as you go.
Yeah.
I've heard that. Maybe that is something that I actually do, but I've tried in the past to have like these checklists and calendars and stuff like that. But if it's not constantly in my face, then like I need something that's going to be like right there. But also that's going to cause me anxiety. So like what can I really do? What's the happy medium?
I mean, I feel like I've said this before. Like, put it on your lock screen. Like, put your to-do list. Yes, put a to-do list on your lock screen, or put things on your calendar so that they remind you periodically throughout the day. So if you have to get your oil changed, be like, okay, I'm gonna put a calendar invite to myself, or and I do it all the time. At 7, 8, and 9, I'm gonna get a tap on my phone to go and get my oil changed. That's one way I feel like it could be in your face all the time. And then the other way is just you have to get into a routine of checking something daily or checking something nightly. So before I go to bed, usually I check my calendar for the next day to see what's going on, so I can know and be ready for it. And so if you prepare in that way, then it will always be in your face. But again, that requires you to remember to check your calendar nightly. I don't know what kind of reminder you set to remind yourself to remind yourself. So, but I'm sure there are
Maybe
things
it
out
can
there.
start with you like, hey, did you check your calendar? Like when where you're checking your calendar in bed, like, okay, did you check your calendar? Like I gotta do
Oh,
this
yeah, I can
tomorrow.
do that.
What do you have to do?
And we kind of do
We
that.
do that. You look, but I just
You
no.
just be like, I gotta do blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. But if you wanted to go back to the doctor and see if a smaller dosage would make you feel better, not that you feel bad, but help you be more get up and go-ish, I'm for it. I just don't want it to alter who you are as a person, like who I know you to be as a person. There's got to be like some homeopathic ways that help that. Maybe it's cannabis. I don't know. But
I would rather not have to take the medicine. So
I feel you.
I can tell you that like when I drink caffeine now, like when I have like a refresher, which I'm gonna start making my own at home now.
Because you bought the mix thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I bought the
right.
frother for my sweet
All
cream.
right. Okay.
But like I want to do those things first because like if I have the caffeine to get me going, and then I have like this list that I'm already have written down, then that'll sub as what the medication would have done, minus the side effects and the insomnia and the loss of appetite. Right. Although I could use a loss of appetite. Right?
Period. Me too. Let me get some of those. Because what the heck? And it's about to be winter.
Oh man,
I cannot. Okay, that's a whole different story. Before we go, we moved. We talked about this.
Oh yeah.
In our last podcast, but didn't get to show what our living room looked like. You can kind of see it if you're on YouTube, not the people listening on the podcast platforms, the audio versions, but you can kind of see it on YouTube. But and this app I use has a cool new feature where I could just use my phone. So let me see if I can flip this real quick. There we go. So it is still a mess. However, it's gotten a whole lot better.
Yes.
A whole lot better. We had more bags and more boxes than we could even count. And we've just been working diligently to get through it, which I feel like you've been doing a pretty good job with that. Because, like, I don't know if it's been overwhelming you walking in here with all this stuff in the living room, but
yeah, like it was overwhelming for you. I don't think you understood that it was also overwhelming for me. I just needed time to
because I was like, let's get it done.
No, and I wanted to get it done as well, but I just needed a moment. And as you see, like when I'm starting to work on something, I get it done. Like last night when we came in from like the laundromat, even though we have a washer and dryer in house, we just wanted to get a lot more done at a time.
We would have took us weeks to wash that stuff.
Right. And it would have still been piling up because,
Yes.
But yeah, going to laundromat was super helpful. But even while we were there, like I was cranking through the folding. And
you were focused. You had it.
And as soon as we got home, like I didn't wait to put a lot of stuff away. I started putting away right away.
That's the way to go.
So
just go ahead and put that stuff away when you get in. It just makes life easier.
See, this is where I'm talking about. Like, you didn't notice anything, like any changes.
I mean, yes, I saw you come in like and just jumped right on it. I was like, oh, okay, well, let me go ahead and jump right on it then. But I had a headache, so I was struggling. But yeah, I got it done for the most part.
Yeah.
So, got anything else?
I do not have anything. I'm excited about today. We do have a game, both of us.
Football game, yeah.
And then we're going to a wine fest that was originally supposed to be a date with me and my mom, but she canceled on me.
I'm sorry.
So my feelings were a little bit hurt about that, but now it's another place where we can go and have an experience together
and take pictures and stuff.
Yeah, it'll be a little date. Maybe I'll vlog it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
I think so, because I've been working on our website, and I put up pictures, as you saw yesterday when you were.
She trying to make me. Oh my God!
You were reprimanding me.
Trying to make me out here looking. Got me out here looking bad.
No, I'm just trying to be real. Like, people don't walk around looking good 24/7.
But they also don't walk around with wigs halfway on their head, a
Well,
girdle,
there's
and a bra, and in a picture. Like, what are you doing? Why do you want people to hate me?
I want people to see you for your beauty inside and outside. But yeah, I think it'd be cool to put those on our website too. Our website is togetherrealbad.com. You can go check out those pictures there. You can follow us on TikTok, together.real.badpod.
And our couples page, which we're just getting started. We haven't posted anything yet. But if you would like to get a jump on that, it is Beautifulll and Ace. And what's the sign? What do you call that sign?
It's actually in Ace, I think.
Is it? Let me check.
While she's checking, you can also, obviously, we're on YouTube right now. Check us out on YouTube and look at some of our shorts. Those are fun. And yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if people listen this far, but if you've listened this far and you have a question you want to ask us, email us at the number 2 and then gether, GETHER, realbad@gmail.com. And we would really enjoy interacting with you, answering those questions.
Yeah.
And did you find out?
I did. It is Beautifulll in the letter N, Ace. So.
And that's TikTok.
And that is on TikTok.
All right. Cool.
All right.
If you don't have anything else.
I do not.
All right.
Until next time.
All right. Y'all be good.
Bye.
Peace.
She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. She's pretty like a 4K sunset, blue-eyed baby from the Midwest. Body so bad when she undressed. If I was your ex, I'd be upset. Little did he know I was up next. Big brown boy with the big flex. I know that you know I'm the one. She's stuck inside my mental. She got a body like a temple. Even though she drives me crazy, I tell everyone that's my baby. Lately gotta keep my memories on a leash. I know they tend to get a little bit away from me. I keep that photo in my wallet from 2018. I keep your body on my brain almost permanently.